Welcome back, Limitless Soul. Today, we're stepping into a different kind of light, a sharper one. If Lyra was warm, golden, creative, and expressive, Vega is precise, crystalline, mathematical. Lyra was the first breath of individuality. Vega is the moment consciousness says, okay, but how do we structure this light so it doesn't collapse? Because that's the thing. Creation isn't just fire and passion. It's also architecture, order, balance. Vega represents the part of the soul that learns how to hold light intentionally, not emotionally. The part of consciousness that understands that everything has a pattern, a geometry, a sequence. And when you align with that sequence, life becomes stable, grounded, and clear. So today, we're going to talk about how Vega shows up in you, in your mind, your patterns, your way of thinking, your habits, and your inner structure. So let's dive in. When people talk about Vega, they usually imagine something cosmic or alien. But the real Vega frequency is actually very familiar. It is the moment your mind shifts from chaos to clarity, from impulses to intention, from emotion-driven to pattern-driven. Think of the Vega frequency like this. Lyra is inspiration. Vega is implementation. Lyra says, here's the idea, and Vega says, here's how we execute it. Lyra is your soul wanting expression, while Vega is your mind building a container for that expression so it doesn't scatter in 1,000 directions. If your soul was a beam of light, Vega is the prism that shapes it. And this is where sacred geometry enters, not the mystical aesthetic, the real meaning, the mind's ability to recognize patterns of harmony, stability, and proportion. Vega is the recognition that everything has a structure, a rhythm, a design, and a consequence. You might feel the Vega frequency when you suddenly crave routines. You want things to make logical sense. You become more observant. Your emotions settle and your mind becomes clear. Or you start seeing repeating patterns in your life. Vega is the soul engineer. It takes the raw light of consciousness and says, let me hold this properly. So if Lyra is the heart expressing itself, Vega is the mind organizing it. In your personal journey, Vega shows up when you learn to separate emotional truth from factual truth. Observe instead of react. Create a structure around your intuition. Build stable habits. Think in cause and effect. Hold your energy with discipline instead of leaking it. This is the Vega aspect of the human psyche. It's not cold or emotionless. It's clear. One of the biggest teachings of Vega is not everything that feels intense is true. Sometimes clarity arrives quietly. Because Vega teaches you to Analyze your triggers. Understand your recurring patterns. Observe your mind without attacking it. Find the underlying geometry in your life experiences. Because every wound, every relationship, and every cycle you repeat, it all has a pattern underneath. Vega helps you see that pattern, and once you see it, you can change it consciously. This is why the Vega frequency is deeply connected to inner balance. This is not a spiritual bypassing, not a toxic positivity, but an actual mental groundedness. Now let's talk about sacred geometry in a way that makes sense in real life. Sacred geometry isn't about symbols. It's about the architecture of energy. In your life, it means what you repeat becomes your identity. What you focus on becomes your reality. What you structure becomes sustainable. What you avoid becomes a shadow pattern. And what you don't consciously reshape will continue unconsciously. Vega loves patterns because patterns reveal truth faster than emotions do. If Lyra is the fire that creates a powerful moment, Vega is the long-term trajectory. Here's a simple example. You can be inspired for one day, and that's Lyra. But if you can repeat that inspiration every day in a grounded way, then that's Vega. Because most people wait for motivation. Vega teaches discipline without force. It teaches that frequency is shaped by repetition, not just emotion. This is why Vega souls often feel like they're sensitive to disorder. They crave mental clarity. They prefer clean energy. They dislike emotional chaos. And they need structure to feel safe. Their soul remembers a time when consciousness was crystalline, not scattered. Every star system has a light side and a shadow side. The Vega shadow is overthinking, perfectionism, emotional detachment, analysis paralysis, needing everything to make sense, judging slower emotional processes, rejecting intuition if it's not logical, or feeling superior because of clarity. Some Vega beings struggle with expressing emotion, not because they don't feel, but because their mind tries to categorize emotion before allowing it. And this creates internal pressure. It's like a system that's too organized and ends up suffocating itself. And the key lessons here are balance logic with softness, balance clarity with compassion, balance structure with flow. Vega is the architect, but Lyra is the heart of the architecture, and you need both. If you're going through an awakening and suddenly notice that you crave cleanliness or order, you need routines, you need clarity, you dislike scattered energy, you want to understand the structure of your life, or you want to reorganize your inner world, then you're in a Vega phase of consciousness. Vega upgrades show up as reorganizing your room. It can mean simplifying your habits, deleting your old conversations, clarifying boundaries, analyzing your patterns, cutting energetic noise, speaking more directly. wanting intellectual honesty, needing coherence in relationships. This is your soul moving from emotional awakening to structural awakening, from feeling everything to understand everything, from chaos to clarity. Now here's the part people misunderstand. Vega does not heal emotions. It holds them. Because Vega teaches you how to regulate your reaction, understand the truth behind triggers, articulate your feelings, build healthier emotional habits, hold space for yourself without collapsing. Think of Vega like a clear container that lets your emotions move, but without flooding your entire system. The message is feel deeply, but process consciously. If you want to intentionally build the Vega frequency into your life, here are simple but powerful practices. 1. Pattern awareness. You can ask yourself daily, what pattern am I repeating today? But not in a judgmental way, in a curious, Vega way. 2. Thought structuring. Before reacting emotionally, just pause and ask, what's the structure behind this feeling? Number 3. Habit stabilization. Pick one thing and repeat it daily. Not 10 things, just one. Consistency is Vega's language. Number 4. Energetic cleanliness. Declutter your environment. Delete things that feel heavy. Organize your space not for aesthetics but for mental clarity. And number 5. Observation without story. Vega loves data. So anytime you feel overwhelmed, you can ask, what is the actual data here? Not the story, the data. And you'll be surprised how quickly the drama dissolves. The Vega frequency brings something that humanity desperately needs: clarity, balance, discernment, structure, energetic precision. Not everything is spiritual has to feel emotional or poetic. Some spiritual truths are mathematical, patterned, clean, elegant. Vega teaches us that consciousness evolves not only through love, but also through coherence. And when the mind becomes coherent, the soul becomes stable. That's the gift of Vega, a stable container for infinite light. So, Limitless Soul, as we wrap up this session, remember that awakening isn't only about feeling more. Sometimes it's about thinking clearly, understanding your patterns, or creating inner order, and giving your consciousness a stable container to express itself. Lyra gave you the spark, and Vega gives you the structure. Next time, we move into episode 4, the Andromedan Consciousness. A whole different frequency, light, free, and expansive, like the mind remembering its true intelligence beyond hierarchy. But for now, take a breath. Feel the clarity in your system. Feel the stability forming inside. Feel the mind becoming coherent. That's the Vega frequency. That's the architect in you waking up.